question at any time. You don't have to wait till the end. I have a 40-minute presentation, so I have to move quickly. And if you hear a word or term you don't remember or would like more information, just say so. I'm not ashamed to say it. If I don't know what a word means, 50% of you all won't. So it's just the same for both of us. Okay. So dementia and Alzheimer's are the same. Okay. Get you giggling now. Y'all want to giggle? Let's just have one big belly laugh, okay? Just come on. Just give it to me. Come on. Come on. I need all these bellies. Are you done? I feel better. Anybody wants to read? Okay, come on, do this.
We do.
Okay, do that. Okay. All right. Let's start our comedy show. So dementia is an umbrella, and all of these other dementias involve changes of memory, personality, temporal lobe, vascular, Lou Gehrig's or ALS, Lewy body, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy, this is what football players get. Traumatic brain injury, stroke, going without oxygen, brain tumors. Okay. So if you see the diagnosis of dementia, you may want to know just a little bit more. But in typical older age dementia, that person vanishes. The person they used to be just kind of disappears. The one thing that never leaves is emotions. So even though they don't remember or recognize or make good decisions, they still know love and they still feel happy when music is played. And sometimes they sing a song when they can't speak. So always remember, no matter how far gone they are, the emotional center is still intact. So the story of Alzheimer's is that in 1906, in Germany, there was a woman who was acting crazy. And she was diagnosed with psychosocial incompetence. She died at 55, and they autopsied her brain because she was so young and acting so bizarre. And this is where they first saw the brain was tangled up in abnormalities that caused her memory loss, language problems, and an unpredictable behavior. And thus we learned first in 1906. Do you think Alzheimer's has been around for the whole wide world since the beginning of time?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. Personally, when you look at old literature, really old, like 5,000, 10,000 years, older people were always described as wise. You didn't ever hear writings of the crazy old man on the hill until we got to the turn of the century. That's argued, but I just don't. I think it's a disease of our environment. So Alzheimer's dementia is the most common form of brain failure. It starts in the mid-60s. It is. You'll see somebody diagnosed late stage Alzheimer's 80s because right now we have no way to really diagnose. It's only by autopsy. So the minute someone shows dementia, hospice only pays for Alzheimer's diagnosis, so they might have had another kind, but I'll say it's Alzheimer's just to get them to cover it. All right, but Alzheimer's really starts in the mid-60s. It's a young person's disease. And then it progresses over about 12 years on average. If you want to see an excellent movie, Still Alice. Very, very good. Really good. So I think that's the hardest thing is if you're young and you're told you have Alzheimer's, it's a long road. So memory helps us learn new things. Did I miss this one? Memory helps us learn new things. Reasoning helps us draw conclusions and helps us solve problems and make decisions. And personality is the combination of our characteristics that form our unique self. And in Alzheimer's, all of this vanishes. So the most important thing I want you to take from this lecture, the most important is that in dementia, no new learning occurs. So you can go and say as the nurse, here's your call light, just push this button before you get up. But if they've never seen that call light, to them it could be a hairbrush or the television remote control. New learning won't occur. Now, habits can be formed, and that's a whole different kind of memory, and that occurs from cues. So you can ring a bell when it's dinner time and they'll go, oh, I'm cued to go eat. But it's not a new memory, it's just an association. That makes sense? If I want to start an exercise program, if I leave my tennis shoes out, where I can see them as soon as my eyes open, I'm going to go, oh yeah, I'm on my new program. I'm going to go run. But it's not like a new memory, it's just a habit. If you have a wandering patient going into this room, you can put a stop sign on the door and it's red, and they'll stop. They don't really know why, they just know it says stop. It's an old cue. They stop with red when it's that shape of a stop sign. So reasoning is if I say to you, if you smell smoke, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you smell smoke in your room?
Starting back, getting people out.
Okay, if you're a resident, if you're a resident and I say, what are you going to do if you smell smoke? The resident with good reasoning says, I'll call for help. I'll call 911. But in dementia, they'll say, I don't know, I'll just smell it, I guess. Ask them. It's really kind of fun. Oh, well, what do you do if you walk out the door and there's a blazing fire? They might say, I'll go get people out and rescue them. So their reasoning is impaired, okay? And that's why you're responsible for their safety, even though they look like they're okay. So this is another kind of dementia. It's called frontal lobe first variant. The average lifespan is 5 years from diagnosis. It starts mostly in the 50s and 60s. I see it a little more often in men than women. In the first variant, it's behavior. Person starts going through people's mailboxes, decides to undress and walk naked. The neighbors can't explain it. My mother's husband got lost in the neighborhood, and when the gardener said, "Sir, can I help you?" he grabbed his balls. That's an abnormal behavior. The second variant, let me tell you one other example. Husband and wife go to dinner with their dinner party, and the husband says to one of the couples, the lady, "You sure have got fat." So that's another early sign, and when you hear that, you're like, why do you say that? You got fat. It's inappropriate and unfiltered. Okay, so the second variant is primary progressive aphasia. Sometimes I think this is me, you guys. I have trouble getting the words out. It's like really frustrating. Hesitating to speak, labored in the ability to speak. I understand words though, so maybe it's just fatigue.
You're pretty quick on stage, all I can say.
Thank God, thank you, God. But you know, when I'm trying to explain some of those words, does anybody else have word finding trouble?
Yes.
When I was younger and I got migraine headaches, I knew I was going to have a headache because I was like, you know that cold stuff in the freezer, ice,
Simple word. It's a simple word that you can put it out.
Exactly.
Even though you know what you want to say, but you can't
You
say
can't
it.
say it.
I guess everybody, especially if you're tired or you're going to have a headache. So in this frontal lobe dementia, the first thing is the person starts to, let's say, I wanted to say, you have a pretty necklace. I might say, you have a nice hat on. You know, they'll get the wrong word for the necklace. You guys have heard this. And that's usually a frontal lobe presentation. I'm going to skip Bruce, you all don't know him. This is another picture of New Zealand.
Mm.
So Lewy body dementia, anybody heard of that?
Yes. I have a friend who died of that.
Mm.
It's really the saddest. First of all, they're psychotic, they hallucinate, and they're distressed, and it's terrible. It's bloody babies. It's children are suffocated and strangled. It's awful. And the medicine we normally use for that makes it worse. So we can't use antipsychotic medication. I last about 2 years. Well, no, that says 5 to 8. Woo. I just had a lady at Austin House. She was 60. She started at age 55 with hallucinations, and Barrow's diagnosed her. And by the time she died, all she could do, she could feed herself, but all she could do was go, and she just walked, and the neighbors from around Cottonwood called and said, what's wrong with that? She was so loud. It was very painful. So the earliest symptoms of these two diseases differ, but over time, they become more similar: memory problems, sleep problems, and behavioral problems. And at the end, it doesn't look anything different than any other dementia. Parkinson's and Lewy bodies look the same. However, here's the difference. In Parkinson's dementia, they have Parkinson's first. And only 3 out of 10 Parkinson's patients will get it. So not everyone with the gait. Here's Parkinson's. Here's the walker. Boxed turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watch your residents. The ones that turn in a box, that's Parkinson's. But 3 out of 10 before they die will develop dementia. In Lewy body dementia, the difference is the hallucinations comes first, and then the Parkinson's symptoms come. So Robin Williams had Lewy body dementia, and his wife had an autopsy, and that's why we know. That's a great HBO documentary as well. They don't say too much about Lewy body, but he, of course, killed himself. He was having horrible hallucinations, and he was just getting ready to go to a special center to get diagnosed with Parkinson's. All right, any questions there? Okay, talk about another picture. Vascular dementia is really common. It's the second most common after Alzheimer's. So it's related to hardening of the arteries and blood flow. Diabetes, smoking, having had a stroke. Anything that vascular changes the blood vessels. This kind is hard. My mother had this. She died last year. Some days she could call me. She was fine. Other days she would not answer the phone. And finally, after 15 days, she'd say, I can't remember how to answer the phone. Then she could answer the phone. The average lifespan is 4 years. My mother lived 2. So it can go fast. High fat diet, cholesterol. If anybody in here smokes, please stop. You're killing your brain. Because this kind is, the person's confused and then they're clear. Well, my mother, she knew everything about everybody yesterday, and she doesn't even know my name today. And it's about blood flow. Okay, so this is important. Brain failure is progressive and terminal. All of these diseases never get better. They all go and lead to death. So don't have any false expectations, because they have good days, that they're going to be cured. It is a terminal disease. And we don't mind when they're appropriate to have hospice, because there's nothing else we can do. The medications we have are like rearranging the chairs on the Titanic. The drug research says maybe 9 months. I took psychopharmacology in Harvard in March in Boston, and there's just no more Alzheimer's drugs coming. There have been, after Aricept and Namenda, there have been an Exelon, failure. They've just given up. Now, the psychiatrists at Harvard take lithium to prevent Alzheimer's. I started it immediately. Now, the lithium we use in bipolar depression is 900 to 1200 milligrams of prescription strength lithium carbonate. To prevent Alzheimer's, they think 25 milligrams, which is over the counter. I'm taking 10 because it comes in 5 and I can't find it in 25, and it's lithium ordinate. There's no pharmaceutical studies. How do we think it prevents Alzheimer's? And this is new, by the way. It's not even, I don't have a slide for it. So lithium is a salt. It's a mineral. And there's a place called Lithium, Texas, where everybody's happy because they get enough of this mineral in their drinking water. So if you look at studies in the United Kingdom, which includes Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Sweden, Scotland, Ireland, they're the ones that have the studies. And they are, in communities that have the highest lithium in their drinking water, they have the least suicide, the least Alzheimer's, and the least depression. So you have to draw a conclusion that something good is going on. So when you think about 5 to 10 milligrams compared to what we treat medically, 1200 milligrams, it's like salting your food. So my husband and I got on it. I was convinced from the Harvard reports. That's my hubby. He'll be 75 on Friday. Don't tell him, but there's a huge surprise birthday party. I'm exhausted. I've got 5 people from out of town that have come, and I'm trying to put them up. And this is his son, Cullen, and my adopted daughter from Korea. And we raised them together. And Cullen did a 23andMe and found out he's not Randy's son after all. So we had a huge wake up this last fall. Let's see what month it was. It's been 1 year. So what? Yeah. He's 39 years old now, and he did the test, and he has an inherited disease, and so he's under follow-up for this rare disease. So they just now came out with a test, so he got tested, and his dad did the test because they're both enrolled in this research, and they're not related. So Randy's first wife was having an affair, and then he raised him as his son, and we love. I would never have known. We're like, well, so what? My daughter's adopted. He's adopted, you know. But he's a wonderful son, and love is deeper than your genetics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I thought I'd tell you, we're not ashamed. We were shocked. We were shocked.
Is he okay with it? He's doing.
He was really angry with his mother,
I bet.
and that is probably where he's working right now, because she kept the lie, and he has a disease. He has to get blood transfusions all the time. It's almost like hemophilia, but it's called HHT. I'd go into it, but we don't have time. And it's directly inherited. So my husband was diagnosed with it. Well, it turns out he doesn't have it. It was a mistake. They just did it based on genetics, and he wasn't. He didn't carry the gene. That's another day. Okay, thank you. My daughter Megan, who I've had since she was 3 months, when we told her what happened about Colin and his dad, she goes, "Really? So neither of us are related to you?" I said, "No, I guess not." You know. So we talked about memories, cues, and habits. All right, memories, the ability to learn new things. And that ability is lost in all of the dementias, no matter what kind you have. Remember, it's the vanishing person. The brain is dying. Okay, sometimes in minutes and sometimes after sleep. So if you have an event where somebody is really mad and they want a bus ticket, if you can get them to sleep in the morning, it'll be a different, it's Groundhog Day. Everybody seen that movie? Mm-hmm. That's a great way, isn't it? All right. Okay, let's talk about the 5 A's, just so you know. Okay, the first is amnesia. Everybody knows. I got knocked in the head and I don't remember anything. Yeah. So that's the inability to remember a fact, an event. The way it usually presents in Alzheimer's is the person gets lost. they either get lost in their own house, it's fairly sudden, or they're driving, they can't get home, it has to do with direction. And that's almost a diagnosis right there. They don't need too much more. But get more before you jump off an Edgeley Bridge, find out. There are a few other things that can cause amnesia, but mostly if you're 55 to 65 and you can't find your way home, you probably have it. And I've seen it. I've seen people call me. I thought the bathroom was down the hall, and I went down the hall, but it wasn't there. That's how it starts. Anomia is a little later, and they can't recall a common object. They might call their glasses a pen, or they might brush their hair with their glasses. Anomia, they just can't name what it is. Agnosia is the inability to recognize sensory impressions: taste, touch, hear, feel, smell. So they may say, you have bad breath. They smell something. They may think food tastes bad. So if you put chocolate syrup on it, they like that. They'll taste something sweet, but they may say, this food tastes terrible. If you whisper and they don't hear you really well, they might make up that you're talking about them. And apraxia. That's a disconnect between the idea of doing a task and actually doing it. So they come out of their room and their clothes are backwards, or their underwear's over their head. They try to get their underwear on, they couldn't remember to get their feet up, so they put it this way. They can't figure out the sleeves. They walk out and they lean. Have you all seen leaning?
Yeah.
That's not a UTI. That's what happens. And tomorrow they're straight. I got a lady who walks like this. I say, Cheryl, how low can you go? She walks like that because her brain tells her she's standing up straight. Aphasia. The inability to speak fluently, easily. I wanted to. Okay, that's expressive. I can't get it out. Or I got started and then I couldn't finish it. And boy, does it take patience. Mr. Irving, Dr. Irving.
Yeah.
Over in Camp Verde. Okay, that's expressive. Stroke can do it, dementia can do it. Right here. This is your brain, by the way. This is called Wardner's location. That's where speech is. You can't get it out. Now, what's just as important to know is you can't get it in some people. That's called receptive. Expressive comes out, receptive goes in. They may talk to you just fine, but you talk to them and they're not getting what you're saying. All right. Might sound like, and it's frustrating to them. That's called pancake rock.
We're going there.
South Island. So it takes me right back. Okay. 80 to 90% of patients with dementia of any kind, but mostly let's talk about serenity. Or even over here, you got dementia everywhere. It's the 6th leading cause of death. Follows colon cancer, lung cancer, lung cancer,
Heart disease.
heart disease. Yeah, it's 6th. Might be 5th, but it's up there. 80% of patients with dementia experience unregulated behavior. They're doing just fine, and all of a sudden they throw their walker. They're doing just fine, and they stab somebody with a fork. Who knows? But it may only be a single event. And it's not really enough to get them put in a lock unit. Although I have so many people that come from Flagstaff because they do something like throw a butter knife one time. They're in a wheelchair and they throw a butter knife like that and they evict them. So they end up in my behavior units until 3 months we can move them somewhere else. So they lose their social filter. They may cuss easy because they lose that filter. They may say sexual remarks, eat off someone's plate, or urinate in public. They may mistake a toilet bowl for a water fountain, or they might wash their hands in it. They may scream or yell for unknown reasons. All right, the second most important thing you know. The first one was what? No new learning occurs. New learning. Second is there is no pill for behaviors or dementia. So when you think we're giving Seroquel or lorazepam for behaviors, we're not. We're giving it for anxiety. We're giving it for agitation, emotional imbalance. And then some behaviors like aggression will come down because we went for the underlying problem. But there's nothing that will make somebody who's mean and nasty nice. Caregiver skills are the first line of intervention and care. You guys, you are the future. You are the future for all care. As we see more and more older people coming with dementia, you can do it without a pill. There are some magical things to learn, and it's on this paper, the universal approaches. I'm going to give you a toolkit if you want to remember this. This is what I teach over at Austin House. There's 4 things you need to remember. The rest, I don't care. Call me, I'll give you help. Redirect, reapproach, offer a snack, or walk away. Those are the 4 things in your toolkit. If you have a dementia behavior of any kind, somebody is going to fight somebody, get out of my face. You can just walk up with a cookie, and I have a cookie, and they'll follow you. Now, the other day I had a caregiver come up to me, and Joanne at another place, you don't know Joanne, was aggressive. She was hitting this guy on the head and calling him a retard. And she thinks he's her husband. Okay, she calls him Bob, and his name is something else, but she bops him on the head, and she takes his food away if she thinks he's eating too much. We have a lot of problems with Joanne. So the caregiver says to me, she's being aggressive and needs medication. And I said, well, what have you tried? She said, I've tried everything. And I said, how's the snack go? She goes, it didn't work. I said, well, tell me exactly how you did it. She goes, well, I said, hey, Joanne, let's go and get something to eat. She didn't understand the words because she has some aphasia receptive. She's also very hard of hearing. So here's what it looks like. The caregiver says, Joanne, eat. And Joanne doesn't follow. So if you want to interact with a behavior, have the food in your hand. I passed out in a lot of facilities some snowballs, essentially. You shake a snowball and they'll go, oh, I want to see that. But if you don't have something shiny, just grab a cookie. Coffee. They all love coffee, and it's an old memory. Yeah, coffee. Yeah. I had a guy, you just said, Marshall, coffee? I could take him anywhere. Okay, so snacks are real important. Don't say, let's go get a snack. Offer the snack. Let him see it. Smell it. Redirect. How does redirection look? Let's say Mrs. Jane Doe wants to go in John Doe's room. A lot. So you see her going in. So redirection means, Jane, you have a visitor. How long do you have to walk her to the visitor before she forgets? Not long. Probably 15 seconds. Go this way. And then start a conversation. Well, it's good to see you today. How are you feeling? And I'm telling you, she's already forgot there's a visitor. However, if she won't take a shower, that works too. Your husband's coming to take you shopping, but you have to have a shower. These are improvisational skills where you play make-believe because it helps them feel happy and they forget. Okay? Is it lying to them? 5 years ago, she doesn't work here anymore. There was a woman no, it was a man actually, who said, "Have you seen my wife?" And she says, "John, I tell you every day, your wife died 4 years ago." And then he goes, "Nobody told me." Every day. And I try to tell her it's okay to tell him she's shopping. She'll be here later. She called and she's late. Because you're dealing with the anxiety. Okay, did it help him to find out she died again?
No.
Okay, caregivers, remember that the person with dementia is a person, even I have to remember this, I love to look at their pictures. You know, I've got physicians, I've got artists, I've got writers, I've got actors, I've got pilots. I had a guy who couldn't say to me except I went and I said, "Hi, how you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm going over here and taking the wife and I hope we can make it up in the air because I'm out of gasoline." I didn't have any idea that he'd been a pilot. I had no idea what he was doing. So, you all do this. Common causes of behaviors. I bet you all know all of them. Yeah. Changing caregivers is really important. If somebody's been on for 5 days and then somebody else comes on, sometimes that creates just a shift. Or a brand new caregiver. Can you all see that, or I need to make it bigger? I can see it. Whoops. Going out with friends. I don't like my people with dementia to go out because when they come back, sometimes it's hard to readjust.
It's terrible.
In my dementia with behaviors and my site, nobody goes out. They can come in and have picnics, they can come in and have parties, but to take them out is so hard on the staff when they come back. At least for a day until they go to sleep. Fatigue, hunger, thirst, constipation, noise, overstimulation. How about after the fire alarm that night? Who was here? You had a real fire?
It was hers.
By the way, I heard you did a wonderful job. Thank you.
Yay, Lisa.
I mean, I bet your residents were like, "Wow, it's dark."
The noise.
Yeah.
Actually, the dementia patients were the most composed ones.
Mhm.
Sitting at the TV room, you'll be
They were wonderful.
and they were calm except one.
That's great.
I don't know why.
Besides the fact that they didn't understand what was happening, but they also bounce off your calmness and your direction, saying, "Let's go."
Yeah. They follow directions well.
Yeah, that's great. We trained all our lives for that, and it's only happened to you. I've never known a fire to really happen. Yeah. So the most common cause of elder abuse, spouse abuse, child abuse is unrealistic expectations. You think that they should. Okay, I'm gonna tell on another facility. So I got a guy who's a traumatic brain injury, and now he's getting older, and they all have dementia. The brain that was damaged as the person aged will always have dementia. A Down syndrome child will always develop dementia.